So, I went to our library the other day, and there was this ancient text that they'd copied down, and it read 2019 Blizzcon and the tale of Overwatch 2. It's funny because we've heard nothing since, and let's discuss it. I think it's time to discuss Overwatch 2 again. It's been ages since I've made a video on Overwatch 2, and I want to discuss it because we're getting to a very interesting time. Now, obviously, for reasons, we know the reasons. I think everyone knows the reasons. If you don't know the reasons, where have you been living for the past 6 months? Blizzcon would not be taking place this year, not in its usual way at the end of October into November. Obviously, that means different things for different things. Overwatch World Cup is up in the air. We've heard nothing about that. Hey, you know, Overwatch, would you tell us something about that? It would be really, really nice. Kind of like the Overwatch World Cup. Anyway, so that might not happen this year, but BlizzCon is not happening this year. Instead, it has been postponed. And it's going to take an online format in February of 2021, over the 19th and the 20th, which is going to be super interesting. And it kind of gives us an idea of perhaps time schedules when it comes to what we're going to hear about Overwatch 2 in the recent times or coming months and stuff like that. So, we're going to discuss in this video what we think. And I can give you an idea of what I think the timescale is. I have got two different possibilities in my mind, and I think it's much likely that my second possibility will come true, but it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Blizzard handle this. So, what have we had recently? Well, we've had a lot of balance patch updates for Overwatch, blah, 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 blah. It's not been too much out of the ordinary. Back along, a couple of months ago, we had that weird questionnaire that was given out in Germany, I believe. It was all in German. About what people might want to see for Overwatch 2, what prices, bundles, stuff like that. It with something around €40 as the cheapest bundle, and then goes all the way up to €120, something like that. For a really prestige edition, and it discussed what people might want to see in it. It also teased the idea of customizable legendary skins, which would have been incredibly interesting, something that I think a lot of people have wanted to see in Overwatch for quite a while. So we've seen that. Most recently, we've had, I'm not going to talk too much about All-Stars. The All-Stars skin are out. If you want the All-Stars skin, they are 200 League tokens each, but they are not really related to Overwatch 2. But there's the Tracer comics. So there's London Calling, these new Tracer comics, and they're a 5-part series that is going to be based around Tracer and her escapades. And it's also introducing us to some new characters. So this, in my opinion, may be linked to Overwatch 2, which could be very interesting. Now, we know multiple heroes are coming for Overwatch 2. We've had Sojourn confirmed. We had that confirmed at the last BlizzCon. But that's all we know right now. We may have rumours that people like Mauga could be heroes and things like that we've heard before, connected with Overwatch before we got Echo. But it's not quite what we expected. Well, Mauga was just before Sigma, actually. So, how do I personally think all this ties in? Well, there are 5 Overwatch London Calling comics in this series. And obviously this kicked off this month, in September. And we had the whole Tracer comic event with the skin and everything. Really, really interesting stuff. And there's also been a Reddit user that's also been theorizing this Holy Sweaters. And I really think it's possible. So let's take a look. And we go on the premise that there's going to be a London Calling comic every single month. And that would lead us to January. Interesting in the first instance. And obviously, a lot of this was planned with BlizzCon 2020 in mind, going ahead first week of November. Obviously, due to unforeseen circumstances, that has now changed. But we can still follow a similar sort of path. So, this is my idea, and this is similar to what Holly Sweaters thought on Reddit. And this is that we get the Comic Tracer event that we've just had. Now we're getting the All-Stars event, which will last until around... Well, All-Stars NA starts the 3rd of October. So I would imagine that it would last till around the 10th, somewhere around that. And then we come straight out of that, and then I think we'll go straight into Halloween Terror. Now, that would mean Halloween Terror is slightly later than it was last year. I think Halloween Terror started around the 8th of October last year. It would put it around the 12th, something like that. I think that is possible. And so we go straight into Halloween Terror, and we'll have Halloween Terror until very, very, very early November, when that will stop. And then we have a new Tracer comic released. Whether that would be with a new skin, I doubt that heavily. But we get a new Tracer comic released. And something else that's very interesting with this Tracer comic is we're getting to introduce to a new person. This is Case, who is an Omnic who distrusts humans. And it's someone we haven't actually been introduced to before. So is this possibly a lead up to him being introduced to a hero that might be introduced with Overwatch 2? So then we get the second Tracer London Calling comic. We get that. Then we have a little bit of a wait. Now, then I would expect Tracer's London Calling third comic to come out. And after that we get the Christmas event, Winter Wonderland, which who knows what that'll be like this year. Maybe repeats, maybe not, who knows. But then we get that event. We head into the new year. January we get another comic. And that's all cool. Then we get Lunar New Year, which obviously a lot of people love Lunar New Year. We get some great skins with that. So that event comes out. And then possibly in the first week of February, we get the last Tracer comic, the last Tracer London Calling comic, the 5th one, which would be the last release before BlizzCon. And that would be super interesting. And it would give us a bunch of lore leading into BlizzCon, which could be a appetizer for what we get at BlizzCon, right? Now, the original plan maybe would have been to release all of this stuff and then at BlizzCon 2020, so very, very early November, to maybe release the closed beta for Overwatch 2. But that's not possible. The question is, have they changed their plans, if this was the case? Or will they still release something to do with Overwatch 2 when BlizzCon was meant to be? We'd like it to be that way. I somehow doubt it's going to be that way. So, the way I see it is, maybe, now Overwatch, the original Overwatch stayed in beta for quite a while. I don't think that'll be the case this time, because the devs know what they're doing much, 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 much more than they ever did when they were first creating Overwatch. Overwatch was Blizzard's first-person shooter. And so they'll know the kinks and stuff. They've got they're rebuilding the engine, but they've got the facets already built from the previous Overwatch. So then we move into BlizzCon 2021, or whether that's the 2021 and we'll still get another 2021 one. Who knows? But let's not get into that complicated conversation. So my initial thought was, when I saw BlizzCon 2021 announced for mid to end February, I thought, is that possibly Overwatch 2's release date? Because a lot of people were suggesting, well, hey, perhaps Overwatch 2 is releasing with next-gen consoles. That's not going to happen. Next-gen is releasing November, and a lot of people lined that up with BlizzCon, and it was all like, yeah, this is a brain move from Blizzard. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen at all. I think that's off the table. But would we see a beta released when BlizzCon was meant to be happening this year, and then the full game release when BlizzCon is actually happening in February of 2021? That is a possible timeline. It would line up with the Tracer comics, and the Tracer comics, the London Calling comics, could be a lead-in for a bit of lore going into perhaps what the first mission will be in Overwatch 2. It is a possibility, and I know I'm far-reaching here, but it looks like a possibility. Now, the other possibility is if it gets pushed back. Then, would we maybe see a closed beta released or an open beta released for Overwatch 2 in February? And then Overwatch 2 gets released at the Overwatch anniversary, which is another possibility. It would be a very short beta period though. Another option is that they released a beta at that BlizzCon, and then their plan would be to release the full game at the next BlizzCon, which wouldn't be as far away as it would have been before. That would be a longer beta period for the game, and it depends on whether it needs it, especially with its rebuilt engine. So this is a lot of theories and a lot of theory crafting here. But there is a timeline that we could try and garner from what these reveals mean. Obviously, don't take my word for it. I don't know rubbish. But this is what I'm trying to garner from what we've seen from Blizzard recently. Now obviously, if there is nothing when BlizzCon was meant to release, we thought there might have been something at the previous gaming events we've seen so far, and there's been absolutely no word whatsoever. But if there isn't something when BlizzCon was meant to be this year, and we have to wait all the way until next BlizzCon, which is obviously February, then obviously we'd hope for some sort of Overwatch 2 news. But we've been hoping that for nearly a year now, and we haven't had anything. It would have been nice to have some little tidbits here and there, but it's been very quiet, and I wish Blizzard would talk more about what's going on with Overwatch. But that's my discussion on Overwatch 2 for today. I haven't done a lot on Overwatch 2, and I want to do an absolute megaton on Overwatch 2. I really, really do, but there's not much to say about it right now, which is the most frustrating thing. And this is where we are right now. And hopefully they give us at least something before next BlizzCon, but that is my ideas on what may happen in the coming months to a year, and we'll see what happens. But on a final note, not necessarily connected to Overwatch 2, and something I haven't heard any talk about, is obviously we're getting next-gen consoles this November, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, Series S. And this is going to be interesting because obviously Overwatch cross-platform, well, it's not cross-platform play, but it's across different platforms. We've got PS4 Overwatch, we've got Xbox Overwatch, Xbox One. And will that be instantly playable on next-gen consoles? We have not had that confirmed, I believe. Although at least I haven't seen it confirmed. So if anyone has seen that confirmed, let me know, because I'd like to know. But if it's not confirmed, I suggest, Blizzard, that you confirm it. And if it isn't going to be on next-gen consoles immediately, that's a bit of a boo-boo. I'm not going to lie. So that's something I wanted to leave on that one. But this is a discussion about Overwatch 2, and I think it's nice to have a discussion about Overwatch 2 for once in a while, and this will probably be the last one for a while, you know. But hey, I'm gonna leave it here. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you'd like to give a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then.